World War II, the greatest war conflict of human history. It showed true personality of many people. Now we are to discuss some of them.
It's June 24th, 1993. Oskar Schindler is named righteous among the nations. But what activities was he awarded for? Oskar Schindler was born on 28 April 1908 in Svitau, Austria-Hungary. Today this rather small town lies in Czech Republic and it's named as Svitavy. Schindler joined the separatist Student German Party in 1935. A year later, he became a spy for Abwehr, the military intelligence service of Nazi Germany. He was assigned in Abwehrstelle-Kommando 2, and he later told the Czech police that he did it because he needed money. By the time, he was in chronic depressions and he had drinking problems. His task was collecting information on railways, military installations and troop movements in advance of planned invasion. He was arrested by the Czech government for espionage and immediately imprisoned, but soon to be released under the terms of Munich Agreement. After some time, he was promoted to second in command of Abwehr and relocated to Ostrau. He was involved in espionage of the rest of the Czechoslovakia. Later, during the late 1939 and 1940, as Schindler frequently traveled to Poland on business, he and his 25 agents were in a position to collect information about the Polish military activities and railways for the planned invasion of Poland. Schindler then continued to work for the Abwehr until as late as fall of 1940. Taking advantage of German occupation program to resign, he bought Record Limited in November 1939 and then he established the Deutsche Emalwarenfabrik. When he was in command of his factories, he employed Jewish people, and due to that he was able to save 1,200 souls. But why he decided to resist, although he had money and power, while cooperating with the regime? He was asked this question many times, but the answer have changed over time. However, the one we think the best explains why was said in 1964.
I had to help. I had no choice. I was a Nazi, and I believed that the Germans were doing wrong. When they started killing the innocent people, it didn't mean anything to me that they were Jewish, but they were just human beings. Menschen. I decided I'm going to work against them, and I'm going to save as many as I can.
For his help to Jewish people, Schindler could have been imprisoned, but there is only a low chance that this could have happened. There are several reasons why. The first one is because he was actually a friend with Nazi party leaders, some of them, and Schindler was not only one who was earning money from his factory. He split the profit also with them, as they were friends. They were also spending dinners together. The other reason why is that he was the head of the ammunition factory. He was producing the ammunitions for the tanks and soldiers, and there were absolutely no problems with him, so there were no reasons to change his lead. In the 1944, Germany was in need of the ammunition, and they they had absolutely no reason to replace him. Schindler's activities had almost no impact on the war society. He paid Germans to keep quiet, and the Jews which he employed were working only in his factory, and they had absolutely no contact with other Jews in concentration camps. However, it had really deep impact, positive impact on that 1,200 Jews working for him. This means that this gave them hope that they can actually somewhere in the future live a full life. It's September 18, 1941. Two Hurricane pilots are training dogfight over the North Sea near the British Sunderland. Suddenly, one of the pilots, Augustin Přeučil, reports through his radio that he has lost all control over his fighter and is falling. He is declared dead. But what really happened there, and who was Augustin Přeučil? Přeučil was born on 3rd of July 1914 in the village Přeučil in Benešov, Czechoslovakia. At the age of 21, he finished the civil aviation school. A year later, he joined Czechoslovakian army, which sent him to train as a pilot at the military aviation school in Prostějov. When Sudet slid under Nazi control in 1938, Přeučil applied to join the Luftwaffe. He was rejected due to racial reasons. Thus, he continued serving the 6th Air Regiment of Czechoslovakian Air Force until the first half of March 1939. In summer of 1939, Přeučil tried to leave for South America, but was arrested at the border by Gestapo. That is when Přeučil decided, or was forced, to become a spy. We cannot prove any of these options because all the documents were lost or burned at the later stages of the war. His first mission was to infiltrate East European pilots in Poland. He reached Krakow, however, the Nazi Germany soon invaded Poland, so he followed other pilots and resistance figures from Poland and escaped to France. There, he joined other fighter pilots and continued reporting his knowledge to other agents. However, he had disciplinary problems. Thus, he was grounded. After the German invasion, he escaped to the Great Britain. In England, he joined the Royal Air Force as a pilot. He was supposed to fight at the Battle of Britain, but eventually he did not due to unknown reasons. His service records, though, were not excellent at all. He damaged a dive bomber and crash-landed another plane. He was moved to the 55th Operational Training Unit to the position of Fight Combat Instructor. Soon after, Přeučil got orders from another Gestapo agent to steal the newest fighter bomber, the British Hawker Hurricane Mark IIc. It's September 18, 1941. The weather is rather good with only light clouds on the sky. Přeučil is sitting in his Hawker Hurricane Mark I late and is preparing to train combat with his Polish trainee. Both take off in noon hours, heading towards North Sea and gaining altitude. Both reach altitude of roughly 12,000 feet and they begin a dogfight. Just few minutes into the fight, Přeučil fakes losing control over his fighter and is heading down towards the sea. He pulls out of a dive just couple hundred feet above the sea level and flies towards the Nazi-occupied Europe. After flown more than 700 kilometers, he runs out of fuel. Luckily, he was already above the Belgium. He crash lands near the city of Bastogne at the village of Orto. He was sheltered by a farmer and member of the Belgian resistance who took him as a crashed British pilot. Next day, Přeučil woke up to German soldiers. The farmer and a resistance fighter were arrested by Gestapo and were later shot. Being back at Czech Republic, he rejoined the Gestapo and infiltrated captured Czech pilots. He knew many of them, having previously served with them in the Royal Air Force. Přeučil's talent found its final use in the concentration camp of Theresienstadt. Posing as a captured Czech pilot, he was used to spy among Czech political prisoners. He was captured in Prague at the end of the war. In 1947, after betrayals were revealed, he was hanged. But why he did all this? The answer lies in the year 1941. There is no doubt that Germany was the most powerful nation in Europe. Přeučil, as many, expected that Germany would eventually win the World War II. Moreover, he was very well paid. For his brave act of stealing the British fighter, he was awarded by 10,000 Reichsmark, which is in today's money roughly equal to $500,000 United States dollars. Moreover, it also showed his loyalty to the Nazi Germany. This would have made for him a win-win situation if the Germany had won the World War II.
He faced a real danger. If he had been caught by the security service, now known as MI5, he could possibly offer them to be a double agent. This would be, however, really unlikely to happen. The only other option is that he would be shot. It has a kind of great military impact because the Germany could take an advantage of it. He is a fictive protagonist of the 1965 black and white film Shop on the Main Street. He was only a simple chap from a small town living a rather boring life. He was exemplary citizen obeying all laws. However, he was easily influenced by other people's opinions. We cannot say whether he collaborated or resisted. At the beginning of the film, he was just obeying the laws. However, he was influenced by his friends. He collaborated at the beginning because he was told he would be rich.
Pani Lautmanka, ja som neprišiel po recept. Ja... Kristu, všade som ho strčil. Aha. Čítajú. Potvora, myslel som, že som ho stratil.
Mi mladý pan prepáča, ja už nevidím čítať.
Nevidíš? Ustanovili ma arizátorom vašej živnosti.
Prosím?
Vašej živnosti.
Kubíky. Máme plecené, veľké, malé, na košule, na kabacíky, vyberne urekom.
Pani Lautmanka, počúvajú. Ja im to poviem tak. Oni sú židovka, pravda. No a ja som Máriec. Židovské obchody sú fuť. To je zákon. Teraz budú len árijské obchody. No, a to je arizácia. Rozumiem?
Nerozumiem.
Nerozumiem. Tu je to čierne na bielom. Ja som váš Áriec a vy ste moja židovka. Rozumiem.
Mladý pan je huncúr. Nie je mladý pan exekútor?
Kdeže exekútor? Arizátor.
Hneď som tak myslela. Taký poradný pan. Najženier nevajú, mladý pan. Ja nečujem dobre.
Aha.
Jak się volá, mladý pan?
Brtko. Tono Brtko.
Krtko.
Ale jdu krtko. Brtko. B.
Krtko. Interesantné meno.
On the other hand, he did not want to harm anyone. His shop was managed by his friend Cook. After the cook was arrested, he decided to obey the laws. This means to report Mrs. Lautmanova. At the end of the film, he finally decides that the laws are not always good and decides to hide Mrs. Lautmanova.
At the beginning of the film, he was in no real danger. It all began when he decided to help Mrs. Lautmanova. It was told that any person that decides to help a Jew would be shot. However, whether he would be really shot is questionable because his brother-in-law was a highly ranked army officer. His choices had had a positive impact on the society of the whole town. He did nothing bad, he did not to hurt anyone. Though, at the end of the film, we see that his effort had no impact at all.